Hello everyone, Yellow Scorescamp here from Team Infinity, and today in this video I want to show you how I assemble the radio tray. I will install the servos, I will install the receiver, I will show you how everything comes together in the IF18-2. So if you have a few minutes, then watch with me how I make the radio tray. So here all the equipment to assemble the radio tray. So this is the radio tray, servos, receiver, transponder, and the servo horn for the throttle and the steering. So let's first build in the servos. First I will build in the throttle servo, and I don't use any O-ring here, just put it straight to the plastic of the radio tray. I don't use any spacer here to have the servo as much inside as possible. To assemble the throttle servo I use a 12mm screw, and I use the 1mm plastic shim. You can also use an aluminium shim, but I found the plastic is very lightweight and easy to assemble. Now tie the other side and put the plastic piece inside. And now tie the screw. For this I use 14mm screw. Now make sure the servo is in the middle and tight all 4 screws very well. Also make sure the servo is at the lowest position in the radio tray. So now the throttle servo is attached to the radio tray, and as you can see the servo is in the lowest position for the lowest center of gravity. So now the assembly of the steering servo. For the steering servo I use a 2mm plastic shim to move the servo more inside. For the weight it's better to have it more inside, and also the position of the servo horn. I put the 2mm shim between the radio tray and the servo, so the servo moves more inside. And for this I use a 12mm screw and with a 1mm shim plate. Now I put the 2mm plastic shim also on the other side, and I put this on the opposite side. With the optional servo arm, there's also an optional screw with a flat head, and this screw has to be used, otherwise the screw under it will touch the bulkhead. This screw has to be 1.5mm wrench. Also here with the steering servo, push it all the way down so the servo is in the lowest position, and then tight all 4 screws. And now the servos are attached on the radio plate. So before installing the electronics, such as the receiver and transponder and the extension wire for the receiver battery, I will prepare the radio tray. The first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drill a small hole in the case to have the antenna pipe. I'm not a big fan of the antenna pipe over here, so I will drill a small hole for if you wanna use an antenna pipe. For the extension wire, I will make a small cut inside here, so the wire can go out from this side to here. I will show you now. So now I drilled a hole here, so if you want to use the antenna pipe you can install it here. And now I will prepare the cap. This what I cut out is to lead the extension wire out of the radio tray box. Now I will connect the steering servo on channel 1, the throttle servo on channel 2, the transponder you can choose any channel, but in this case channel 3, and the extension wire I will connect next to the transponder. So everything is connected now to the receiver. Now put some double-sided tape on the receiver. Take the receiver wire and install the receiver into the radio tray box. Put it inside the box and push it a little bit so it stick to the radio tray. Put the extra servo wires into the box. Let the wire come out like this. Now we can close the box and use this on the side of the extension for the battery. Now close the battery box. So now the radio tray is closed on one side and the extension for the battery is like this. The transponder can be placed here, and I put some double-sided tape. This is the MyLabs Pro transponder. It's a little bit thinner than the standard one. The standard one fits perfectly here, but this one you have to tape. Before closing the receiver box, I will put the receiver wire inside the box and let stick out a little bit of the receiver wire. Now we can close the box. And of course, before you close the receiver box, don't forget to bind the receiver with your radio. As you can see now, I leave a little bit of the antenna out, and you can cover this with a small piece of antenna tube. As you can see, the radio tray is almost finished, and now I will attach the extension wire to the battery, and I put some double-sided tape and I put it on the side right here. It's now nice and neat. You can also use a little bit of super glue here. So the radio tray is finished. Before installing the radio tray onto the car, I will attach the servo horn for the steering and also the throttle on the servos. For the throttle, I recommend the Sanwa servo horn, and I will show you the length of the linkage. And the length of the linkage is about 30.6 millimeter. The optional servo horn for the IF18 I highly recommend you to use, and also this I will show you the overall length of the steering linkage, and that's about 34 millimeter. Now I will attach the servo horn onto the steering servo, and this is the neutral position. So this line is 90 degree on this line. Usually I take a 6 millimeter M3, and of course you check the radio if it's in the neutral position. Same for the steering. You want this to have 90 degrees, and again a M3 times 6 millimeter steel screw will do the job. So this is the radio tray ready. I had to say that after checking, the transponder wire of course had to lead this way and not this way. So this is the final radio tray ready to put it in the car. Now I will install the radio tray in the car. Tight all 3 screws over here. Now that's ready, and now attach the servo linkage and the throttle linkage. Make sure this is 90 degrees and this is 90 degrees, and same count for the servo saver. This is 90 degree. The servo horn is also standing in a 90-degree angle. Now I will install the battery, so you will see where I will put the battery wire. I have installed the battery now, and I will always put the balancer plug or the balancer connector, I put it away right there, so the tank falls nicely over it. And the power wire I first put alongside the battery and let it sit like this. Now you can easily put back the fuel tank. And the line can be easily plugged in like this. So the battery tray is finished, and you can see it's very clean and nicely made, and again easy to plug in and plug out the battery power. That's it. Thank you again for watching my video about the assembly of the IF18-2, and hope to see you next time.